This is deGarisMasculistVideos flyers, that is 2 3-page essays on the themes of masculism and MGTOW, written by and read aloud by Prof. Dr. Hugo de Garis. This is flyer number 679, entitled, "Have YouTube male employees had a masculist rebellion recently?" Description. Very recently, the number of masculist videos appearing on YouTube has skyrocketed, which makes me wonder whether there was a recent masculist rebellion of male employees at YouTube against the misandrist, sexist, hypocritical bigotry of YouTube towards the manosphere, which has over the years deleted masculist and MGTOW videos. Perhaps the new CEO of YouTube, a man of about 50, is more open to the idea that gender oppression is a two-way street, and has quietly reversed Susan Wojcicki's, that's the former CEO of YouTube, misandrist policy towards the manosphere, ? I'm now performing an experiment by uploading a new masculist channel called deGarisMasculistVideos, all one word, with 700 masculist videos to see if it will be deleted. If it is, my hatred for YouTube's sexist, hypocritical misandry will increase. If it is not, then masculist ideas can spread a lot faster across the planet due to YouTube's enormous size. Time will tell. Now the flyer itself. Have YouTube male employees had a masculist rebellion recently? By Prof. Dr. Hugo de Garis. Email profhugodegaris@yahoo.com. Website profhugodegaris.wordpress.com. Some days prior to writing this flyer, I was idly searching on YouTube using the search term masculism to see what it would come up with, and was shocked by how much new material it listed. Obviously, YouTube has changed its policy on allowing masculist material to appear on its servers. Personally, I've had a masculist channel on YouTube deleted twice, so I have a very low opinion of YouTube's blatant sexist hypocrisy when it comes to gender politics. The former CEO of YouTube, Susan Wojcicki, pronounced Wojcicki, was a feminist who promoted feminist channels on YouTube and deleted, in capital letters, masculist and MGTOW channels, making her the most hated woman in the manosphere for her sexist hypocrisy, having an attitude that it's fine for women, for feminists, to lash out at how men oppress women, but it's not fine for men, for masculists, to lash out at women for the ways that women oppress men. Of course, a few years ago, feminists were strictly monoconscious, that is, the only gender politics they had heard of was feminist, so it did not enter their little heads that maybe women also oppressed men, and it certainly did not enter their little heads that women actually oppress men far worse, in brackets, with women's manslavery, women's divorce rape, women's forced fathering and the like, that are horrible, decades-lasting gender crimes against men, close brackets. So within the manosphere, there has always been a contempt for YouTube for its sexist, hypocritical bigotry. So you can imagine my surprise when I saw how large the number of videos there are now on YouTube on the theme of masculism. This really got me wondering, speculating to myself, quote, what happened? Why the sudden increase in the number of YouTube masculist videos? ? Has YouTube had a change in policy towards the manosphere? ? Was there perhaps a rebellion within YouTube by its male employees against the blatant sexist hypocrisy of Susan Wojcicki? ? End quote. The current CEO of YouTube is a man, Neil Mohan, M-O-H-A-N, a man of about 50, who perhaps is more sympathetic to men's issues, who probably knows a lot of men who have been divorced, raped, etc. So he may know that gender oppression is not a one-way street. My Masculist channel was deleted from YouTube first in 2019, informing me in a somewhat polite tone via email that my content did not meet company guidelines. The second deletion was a year or so back, and the email rejection tone was downright hostile, talking about hate speech and the like. So now I'm doing an experiment. I've started up a third Masculist channel that I call deGarisMasculistVideos, one word, and am currently uploading about 20 Masculist videos a day to it into 14 playlists with 50 videos per playlist to test whether my hypothesis that YouTube has changed its policy on the manosphere is correct or not. The problem with YouTube, from the manosphere's point of view, is YouTube's enormous size, with a huge number of people who use it. So manosphere content creators are strongly motivated to use it to get the Masculist and MGTOW messages across to a huge worldwide audience. Personally, I have felt very frustrated by the fact that my Masculist content has been censored by the feminazi shits at YouTube up until now, thus generating a real hatred in me for their awful, sexist, hypocritical bigotry. If I were 2 meters away from Susan Wojcicki, I would literally spit in her face with as large a goobie as I could hack up. So, as I said, I'm doing an experiment, uploading my almost 700 Masculist videos to YouTube to see whether they will be deleted or not. This can go 2 ways. Either my Masculist channel will be deleted for the 3rd time, in which case my level of hatred for their sexist hypocrisy will only increase, so that I trash on them all the more on other video hosting sites, for example Minds, BitChute, Odyssey, MGTOW.tv, X, lashing out at them for their hypocrisy that definitely generates misogyny. The other way is that my new channel is not deleted, in which case my Masculist opinions will from now on get a much wider audience across the planet. Up until now, the video hosting site that gives me the most hits per video on average is BitChute, with about 200 hits per video, which is not much, but enough to get Masculist ideas out there, spreading gradually across the manosphere and into a wider public. But if my new channel is not deleted, then I can expect a much higher hit rate that will help spread Masculist ideas much faster across the planet, given the huge number of users of YouTube. For that, I'm potentially excited, but it's early days. I remember that my second Masculist channel had only been up for less than a week before it was deleted for reasons of hate speech. Personally, I find the concept of hate speech mindlessly middle class and rather dumb. Common sense says that some things should be hated. For example, if I were a Palestinian, I would hate with a passion the Zionist butchers who are killing the Gazans with a kill ratio of 40-1, causing anti-Semitism to become fashionable again. It's now likely that Israel, an obvious apartheid state, will go the same way as apartheid South Africa did. If I were Chinese, I would hate the Japs. If I were Russian, I would hate the Nazis, etc. Some things should be hated. As a Masculist, I have a hatred of gender criminal women who commit horrible, decades-lasting gender crimes against men, such as manslavery, divorce, rape, forced fathering, etc., and feel fully justified at hating such women and want to see them exterminated in the sense of being ignored to death by men, masculisted men, forcing such women to rot on the shelf, being totally rejected by men, both socially and sexually. The fact that YouTube, under Wojcicki, deleted such opinions only increased the level of hatred I felt towards her for her feminazi bigotry. I wish upon her that her husband, Dennis Troper, absorbs masculist ideas, becomes bi-conscious, in brackets, that is, has both his masculist and feminist consciousnesses raised, dash. He is already a male feminist since he is married to Wojcicki, an ardent feminist, close brackets, and that she remains a monoconscious feminazi bigot, in brackets, MFB, so that he becomes increasingly disgusted with her monoconscious bigotry, dumps her, and for the rest of her life she lives alone, miserable, lonely, manless, loveless, sexless, and depressed. In other words, I wish manlessness upon her for her hated misandrist bigotry towards men. So fuck her, or better still, nobody fuck her, so that she lives the rest of her miserable, lonely life rotting on the shelf, unless she reforms herself into a bi-conscious feminist, learning that gender oppression is very much a two-way street, and that women oppress men far worse. The Masculist and MGTOW messages are now increasingly widely known across the Western world, so it would not surprise me if somehow I hear that within YouTube, amongst the male programmers, some of them became masculisted and learned MGTOW ideas, etc., and became disgusted with the misandrist bigotry of Wojcicki's policy towards the manosphere and rebelled. Perhaps rather timidly at first, because their jobs would be on the line. But as the number of them grew, their rebellious confidence, I imagine, would have grown to the point that YouTube could not fire all of them. So the company would be forced to listen to them and stop its misandrist bigotry or face an open rebellion by its male employees. I do wonder if that is what happened. Within a few weeks of writing this flyer, I should have an answer to my experiment. Either I will be deleted a third time, or my new Masculist channel will remain up on YouTube servers, allowing Masculist ideas to spread across the planet a lot faster due to YouTube's enormous size. If this new channel is deleted, then I will encourage male employees of YouTube to rebel, to fight against the sexist, hypocritical misandry of the company, and to promote its masculisting, or YouTube management could have its company torn apart. Masculist passions are very strong. To Masculists, the gender crimes that women commit against men are war issues. Masculists see women's manslavery as literally 1,000 times worse than was Negro slavery, given the numbers. There were several million Negro slaves in the US slave period, and there are several billion man-slaves today. Masculists see fluffydom as manslavery, and manslavery as slavery, and hence hated and a war issue to Masculists. Masculists are at war against the manslavery of fluffies and fluffy feminists, and punish them so severely that we effectively exterminate them by totally ignoring them, not even pumping and dumping them, so that these fluffy, manslaving, divorce-raping gender criminals rot on the shelf, dying slow, miserable deaths due to their manlessness. These issues rouse passions with Masculists, so when there are a large number of Masculists within YouTube, then the company will be forced to listen to them, or potentially the company could be destroyed, since if large numbers of Masculist employees get verbally very violent and hateful, then tempers could really fly. Large numbers of Masculist employees could then quit and bring down the company. As the number of angry, hateful Masculists increases across the planet, CEOs of companies need to be very conscious that the issues of masculism rouse such passions, that companies need to be very careful how they deal with these passions, since if mismanaged, the powerful forces of masculist hatred and passion can destroy companies by ripping them apart along gender lines. So if YouTube deletes my new channel, I will push on other video hosting sites for a masculist rebellion within the company. If the new channel remains up, then I look forward to a greater speed of the spread of masculist ideas across the planet, given YouTube's wonderful size. Cheers. Prof. Dr. Hugo deGaris. Prof. Hugo deGaris at yahoo.com. Website profhugodegaris.wordpress.com. In brackets. Click on the Masculist tab for 670 plus Masculist essays and their videos. See also a London Real interview on Masculism at AI will kill 1 billion people. Do we create our exterminators? Professor Hugo deGaris. London Real. In brackets. See the last half hour of this 2-hour interview for the Masculist segment. These flyers are available in text and video formats on Minds, BitChute, Odyssey, MGTOW.tv and X. Ciao.